Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering job management and best practices. This webinar will cover what a job is in your system with a job page overview, appointment status and visuals. We'll go over a multi-appointment or a multi-day appointment, flag for follow-up, and job reporting so you can manage your jobs in bulk. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. Now, the first thing we're going over today is, what is a job in your system? We are going to first go to a customer page. That is a great place to see the jobs that your customer has. I have just typed in Mary Smith in the customer search in the top right and selected her customer profile. That will bring you to the customer profile page. And if you scroll down, if you have any jobs that you have done, you will see those jobs here in these gray rectangles. You'll see the job number. Your system will automatically assign a job number for every job that you create. You will be able to add a job name, which I highly recommend because then you will also see the name of that job, which is just a quick reminder of what that job is. And then as you're looking at the timeline here, you can see a little bit about what's going on with the job, but click the arrow. There's a little red arrow in the bottom right of each job. And if you click on that, it will drop down to show you everything that's inside of this job. I like to think of these as digital file folders. Back in the day, you would have a manila folder and your invoices and proposals and receipts and everything would go in that folder. These are digital folders. So if I'm looking here, I can see this has an appointment. This one has an appointment and an initial call note. And then, this job has a ton of stuff in it, a bunch of proposals, invoices. So that's an easy way to just go to a customer page and be able to view the jobs that they have. Now, to create a new job, there's two main ways that jobs are created in your system. First is to create a job without an appointment. You can simply come to the customer page, go to the quick actions section, and it's the very last quick action. Create new job form. I will click on that. I will select whether this is, do I want to create a brand new job folder? I could also select an existing job, but if we want to make a new job, create new job, select your job type. What type of job are you doing? Let's say we're doing an install. And then the job name. Maybe this is a furnace install if you're working in the HVAC industry. And then you have some options here. You can create a job with a proposal. You can create a job with an invoice, or you could just create a job with nothing in it and add those items later. And so let's do that. Let's add a job. We're not going to start with any proposals, invoices, or anything. We're just going to make a new job folder. Save job. So it has now created this job for us here. And then I can create appointments from here. I could create proposals, purchase orders, and invoices. And we're going to go a little more in detail on this page, but I just wanted to show you just the basics, job creation. And we did that from the customer page. That's one way to add a job. Now, there's no appointment with this. So if I did need to schedule something for this job, I could do that right from here. But typically, you're going to be creating your appointments from the schedule page. So if I'm on the schedule page and I create a new appointment, let's say we'll make a quick appointment for my customer, Justin Hernandez. Right here, it says job. And so what this is saying is if I hit schedule, I'm going to create an appointment to go out and do a job. This is saying we're going to create a new job folder when we create this appointment, and it will put this appointment in that job folder. Now this drop down here, when you are creating this, you are able to select a previous job, and that would be for callbacks, like a second visit, but we'll show a better example of that a little later. So if I'm creating an appointment, maybe I've worked with Justin here many times, but this is a new job. It's a new issue. We're starting a fresh job folder for what we're going to go out and do. And maybe this is just a service call, and we'll go out there today between 12 and 1, and we'll have my technician Dustin Bailey run that job. When I hit schedule, because its new job is selected here, it will create a new job folder and the appointment. So I can see if I hover over this appointment, the appointment was created, but it also made job 13776. And if I go to the customer page, I'll be able to see this job as one of those rectangles in the timeline. And I can get to the job right from the schedule page here as well by hovering and clicking on the job number. And here we are. So now we're in the job. This job folder was created when we created the appointment. Let's go back to Mary Smith's customer page. And so from here, if you would like to search for items that are inside of the job folders, yes, you can go down and use the little arrows to kind of look in the jobs. But you can also, right here on the customer page, click the drop down and you can pull appointments, calls and notes, proposals. Maybe I want to see all invoices at a glance for this customer. I select invoices and it will pull any invoices out of their job folders and put them in this list here so I can just look at invoices. So that is a way to filter through items you may be looking for. And you can also search for jobs. So we're going to search for job 11918. That will pull up from my list. And then we'll go into the job by clicking the job number. This is the home base for everything relating to this job. It's going to keep you nice and organized, and you always know if you need to reference anything for this job, you'll go to the job page. And let's just go over what you will find in the job. We have the job number, which will auto-populate from your system. When you name the job, that will show up here. If you want to edit the job name, you can click this little pencil and paper icon and edit the name. And then hit save. You can quickly access the customer page if you want to go back to Mary Smith's customer page here. And then you'll see the address and the phone number, so kind of the customer info. We've got at the top a job tracker. So at a glance, you can see this job is complete. We scheduled the appointment. We went out and created a proposal. We ordered some parts. We converted to invoice and we took payment. And so that just kind of helps you see where this job is at in the timeline. The job summary, this gives us a lot of great information. So first, the job status, is this open, closed, or abandoned? the job type, which type of job this is. This comes in very handy when looking at your reports. If I'm tagging all of my jobs as I create them, when I go to my reporting, I can pull up all of my, let's say I want to see all installs that I've made for the last month. And maybe I want to look at my no AC calls. And so these here, these job types, your system will come with some general default job types, but you can customize these. To customize the job type, you will go to Settings, Jobs, Job Types. And so if what you find here by default is good for you, that's great. But maybe you want to get a little more detailed. Maybe you have some very specific jobs that only your company does or your industry. So you can come in, click New Job Type, enter in the name, put in the color. When you're on the schedule page, it'll actually, the color of the little appointment squares comes from the job type. And then right here, you can set the default duration as well and save. Anything you add to this list on this page will be available when creating jobs and selecting the job type. The job price, this is going to be the pricing that that this job will take on. And so the way that this works is your system will have multiple different pricing strategies. And if it's standard price, that means when I create an invoice or proposal and I'm adding items from my price book, it will be just the standard price I'm seeing in the price book. So it's a one-to-one. I pull it from the price book, whatever the price it is in the price book, that's what we're charging the customer. But you can also set up discounts and upcharges in your system. And so the maintenance plan price is something that actually auto applies. If, Mary Smith is a maintenance plan customer, it will auto select the maintenance plan price, which would discount your items from your price book. So they start as the standard price, then I would add them to a proposal or invoice in this job. And if maintenance plan price is selected, it will give the maintenance plan discount. If I select friends and family, it will discount, use the friends and family discount and apply that to my job forms. And then after hours is actually an upcharge. Maybe you do after hours services and you just select that, and then it will add a percentage to your proposals and invoices. To set up the job price, if you haven't done so already, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, Pricing Defaults. And I just closed it on accident. Pricing Defaults. There we go. On the Pricing Defaults page, you will have your standard price, which will include whatever your markup is, which you can control what your markup is. And it'll show you an example of uh, a part that costs $100, update your markup multiplier. And then this price you see here is what the standard price would be, what you're going to charge your customer. The maintenance plan price you cannot edit. This is a default pricing strategy in your system. If you're offering maintenance plans, if a customer has a maintenance plan, it'll just automatically apply this discount and change from standard price to maintenance plan price when the job is created. The three you see here, these are modifiers that you can use to update whatever you want. It's percentage. So examples here, friends and family discount, 15% off. A military discount, 20% off. And then adding 25% for after hours calls. As long as you have this set up here, whenever you go and create a job, you select the pricing strategies, it will apply either that discount or that upcharge to your proposals and invoices when you create them. The biggest thing to know here, a disclaimer for this, and it actually says that up here in a big yellow box, is any changes that you make to this will not apply to any items that are currently in your price book. It will only apply to new items that you add to your price book. And so it will just maintain the historical record. So let's say that I have an invoice. I've already created it. I've already added items to it, and it was the, standard price. But I didn't finish it. I haven't taken payment yet. I just saved that invoice. Then I come in here and I update my parts markup multiplier. I want to change my markup and hit save. That previous invoice will not have changed the pricing. If I add any additional price book products that were in my system before I made this update, those also will not take on the change. If you want to update all of the items in your system, you will need to reach out to customer care and just have them do a service request. So, you come in one day, you decide, you know what, we have determined we're going to update our markup multiplier and save. Go down here to the help center, contact support, and just let them know, hey, I just updated my parts markup multiplier, and I would like this to apply to, all of my price book items. They'll do that. It's typically a 1-day turnaround. And then once that's finished, they'll send you a message and they'll let you know that has been updated. And then, now that pricing applies to your entire price book. Keep in mind, if you are using the Profit Rhino flat rate, any updates you make to those pricings will be instant. It's just the WEX FSM pricing strategies that we're talking about for that. Going back to the job here. So that was how to update your job price, your pricing strategies. We also have a section of helpful tools here. Calls and notes, any notes that are added, if you're having your technicians add notes just so you know what's going on, you'll see those here. Those will sync into the job. And if you add, let's say, an initial call note when you created an appointment, that note will show up here as well. So any notes that are created relating to this job, you'll see here. If you want to edit a note, you can just click on it, make your edits, and hit save. You can also delete notes from here. And then if you want to add a brand new note, you just click new. And now you can add a note to the job. If you're using checklists, you'll see those here. If you want to view a checklist that's here, you can click the PDF icon and it will show you what the checklist looks like. And if you want to add a new checklist to this job, let's say a scenario is I'm going to create a checklist that's going to go over everything you need to do for a no AC call. And then I would hit new, select that checklist, and then it will add it to the job. To set up your checklists, you will go to More Applications, Checklists. And all that is your checklist admin page. You're going to create checklists with new checklist here. And then once you create those checklists, there'll be templates that you can then use on jobs. Equipment, this is going to show equipment history. A typical scenario would be I'm a technician, I'm out in the field, I've got my WEX FSM mobile app, and I'm looking at the new equipment we just installed. I need to document this so we have it on file. I'll just document the equipment and save it. That will save to the job, but it will also link itself to the address. So any job you create in the future, you'll always have a history of the equipment on location and view that here from the equipment page. We also have attachments if you want to update, let's say, before and after pictures. That's a great place to put them. You can send out a review request. We all know that getting great reviews from our customers is good for business. Other customers who have not used our service before, they don't know. But if I see a lot of good reviews, that may encourage me to use you, over someone else. So you can set this to auto send. So what that means, and let's hover over the I. If enabled, a review request will be sent automatically when an appointment is completed on this job. If disabled, a review request will not be sent for any completed appointments. So if you have auto send turned on here, if I have an appointment and let's say my technician goes out, does the job, does the appointment, marks the appointment as complete, it'll just auto send, how was your recent service with us? And they can go to any of the links that you provided to give you a review. To set up review requests, you will go to settings, call and notifications, email notifications, and text notifications. These are two areas where you can actually control the messaging that's coming out of your system. So on the email notifications page, it's right here, review request. And this is very simple. It'll be a message. They will see whatever message you have here with a link to your review page link. And you'll click the edit button here and you'll just enter in the URLs, the links that will link out to places where your customer can leave a review. And it will look like this. They'll get a message. It'll say, thank you for your recent service. Let us know how we did. Leave your review here. And so that is setting up review requests. And just also know you need to update it on both pages because the email notification and the text notification can be different if you want. If you want them to be the same, you can just make one and then copy and paste it into the other. But you do need to update on both pages. And then profit and loss, this is going to be really helpful for you to see how much money you make on your jobs. Every job will calculate your profit and loss for you, but you do need to make sure you have two things set up. Number one is set up your product costs, and number two is set up your labor costs. Product cost will come from your price book. So if we go to more applications, price book, my price book, this is where you're building and editing your price book items. And every price book item, I'm going to click a little arrow drop down here, and we're going to just click into a part. Every price book item you have has a cost field, and it's important that you set this up if you want your profit and loss reporting to be correct. This is saying how much you pay for this item, and that is factored in as a cost. So when you're building your price book, just make sure the cost is filled out and hit save. Then if I add this item to an invoice or a proposal on this job, that will be added up with the other products to show me my total cost for products. The other thing to set up is your labor cost, and that is the time that your technician is, tracking on the job. To set up your labor cost, you'll go to Settings, User Management, Users. And each user that you add, let's use my technician, Dustin here. you can update the labor cost right here. So updating this is saying, how much does it cost you to pay this user for 1 hour of service? Enter that here. And then when Dustin goes out on a job, he'll clock into the appointment, he'll clock out of the appointment, and then your system will take the labor cost per hour, multiply times the hours worked, and that is what will give us our labor cost. And you'll see that here. And so the product cost and the labor cost will come in together to subtract from the revenue. That is the amount your customer will pay from the invoice to give us our official profit. You can click See Details to see a breakdown of the labor costs, the product costs, and if there's another expense, maybe there's something that you know you had to spend money on for this job, but you don't necessarily want your customer to see that, you could just add it as an other expense down below here by clicking New. So right here, it says a stip payment. So we gave Jim some money for doing a task. We gave him $50. I just wanted to document that, but I don't want the customer to see that we paid Jim a little bit extra for commission. Okay. And so last thing here in the job summary is opportunity. And if you hover over the I, it will give you a little tip on what this means. But if you want to track, let's say your company, you do a lot of jobs where they're big commercial jobs, and there's a lot of people who are bidding for those jobs, and you want to win as many of those jobs as you can, and you want a way to track that. You can actually track opportunity by putting opportunity here. And if I create a proposal on this job and opportunity is turned on, it will mark that proposal as an opportunity. If it's declined, it will show as a loss. If it is accepted and you convert to invoice and you win that job, it will show as a win. And then you can track that in your reporting to see your close rate. If opportunity is off, it will not consider anything you do in this job in your close rate percentage. Down below here, we have a belled note. And actually, belled notes come in very handy. If maybe for the longest time you've been the person who has sticky notes all over your desk to remind you of things, this is kind of like a sticky note that we're adding to this job. Just to give us any reminders. It's great for gate codes, if they have pets, things that are unchanging that you would need to know every time you visit. I would add it as a belled note. To update belled notes, that is done from the customer page. So let's go back to Mary Smith. And the scenario here is I'm on the phone with Mary, and Mary says, hey, yeah, I live in a gated community and they're very strict. So you got to know the gate code or you're not getting in. Okay, well, let's go ahead and document that. You'll use the quick action, leave a note about the customer. And then, I'm talking to Mary. Okay, your gate code, got it. And oh, you have two cats. Okay, I'll make sure we don't let them out when we're over there. And you just add in your notes here. Then you will attach this to an address. So let's say that this is the gate code for the Marshall Place address. And then to bell the note, so it shows up on every job that you create after this, you'll hit the bell and hit save. When you do this, you will see the belled note at the top of their timeline always, so you can quickly reference quick access information here. And any new job that I create, new appointment that I create, which will create a job, I will be able to see that belled note right here on the job. Every job also has 4 sections at the bottom. Appointments and service requests, we'll see any appointments or service requests that are created. Usually you're doing this from the schedule page, but you can technically do all of your scheduling for jobs right here from appointments and service requests. When you click new, it's just like being on the schedule page. It's the same schedule modal here. Proposals and financing, you can create proposals. You can click new to create a new proposal, update that information, and whether you are saving, converting to an invoice, you send it to the customer, whatever happens, it will then save in your proposal list, and you can always reference those from here. If you want to quickly view a PDF, you can click the PDF icon here. And that will show you what your customer will see. If you sent this to them, they'll see the PDF version with your logo right there. And if you want to convert to invoice, you just hit convert to invoice, and it will take all the information from the proposal, create a new invoice, add that information, and you'll see the invoice then down below here in the invoices and payments section. You can also order parts from your system. So you can create purchase orders. You'll see those here. And you can either create a new purchase order or copy from existing. And then lastly, we have invoices and payments. Same as proposals. You can create new or copy. You'll see those here. If you want to edit, you click on the invoice number. And if you have an invoice that is, let's say, signed, I can't edit it anymore. So this is just a pro tip. Like, oh man, I need to go in here and just add some notes to this. You will need to just change the invoice status to open draft. Documents, so proposals, purchase orders, everything is only editable in the open draft state. But go in, make your changes, and you can always come back and set it to whatever it was before. If you want, if you have an invoice that's here, you can click into the invoice and scroll to the bottom and take a payment. But if you want, you can also just process a payment or record payment here. Let's say that there are 3 invoices for this single job, and they send you one check to pay for all 3 invoices. Uh, that would be a great scenario to use this because you can't, you're not going to use one check to individually pay for 3. We would want to, record a payment, select the 3 invoices, and then you can take your payment from there. Just another tip on how to use that. Okay, so that is our overview of the customer page and the job page as it relates to jobs. Next, let's see the schedule page and visuals. This comes in really handy if you're working in the office and you are on the schedule page. Any appointments that you have, let's see if I can go back here. There we go. So you can see we have many different appointments on the board. And there are visual indicators that will tell you what status the appointment is in. Actually, let me see if I can find the example I made the other day. That's okay. I must have made it a while ago. So here is a way that this works. I create an appointment. This is going to now take the appointment and put it on the schedule for my field technician, Dustin. He's out in the truck. He's ready to start driving to the job. We're going to simulate this. I'm just going to go to the job page. So Dustin, he's ready to go. He, from his mobile app, is going to update the job status to en route. And if we go back to the schedule page, we can see there are moving dotted lines visually here. If you see this, I know that Dustin is on the way to this job. When he gets there, he will use the mobile app and change the job time clock to at job. In the office, we will see that as a dotted outline. So if I see that, I know he's at the job doing the work. When he completes the job, and again, well, I'm doing this here on desktop. This would be Dustin in the field updating all these statuses. He'll update it, and then we will see it turn gray. And it's very simple, but it's very handy, and you get a good sense of where everyone's at in their day. So I can see who's on the way, which jobs haven't been started yet, who's at the job doing the work, and which are complete. And if you get to the end of the day, this red line here just shows you the current time. This will just move throughout the day. If you get to the end of the day and you see that all the appointments are gray, that's a good sign. That means everyone is clocking in and doing their timestamps from the mobile app correctly. They're completing jobs. Life is good. If you notice that it's still, red and it hasn't been marked as complete, maybe you want to reach out to the tech and say, hey, did you complete this? Yeah. All right. Well, let's make sure we're updating that from, the mobile app here. So great way to just have a good gauge of what's going on out in the field. All right. We have two more main topics we're going to go over. Flag for follow-up and some job reporting. We'll look at the job summary report before we get into our Q&A. Flag for follow-up. So let's go back into this job as an example. If everything worked the way it is supposed to, and everything goes as planned, you always have the parts you want, you've always finished the job before you leave, and that's great. But we know that is not how it goes. You'll not have the part you need. Maybe you need to go back just to do a quality check. Maybe you forgot to take pictures and you just need to run back real quick to take some pictures. Whatever follow-up you need to do, we have the flag for follow-up feature. Let's say that on this service job, Dustin was actually not able to, complete this, um, and he needs to do a flag. So from the mobile app or from desktop, you would tap flag for follow-up. Select the follow-up type. There's many different reasons why you may need to follow up. Today's example, we'll do part order. And then we're just going to say, uh, ordered this part will be here, Monday, and save. Now this has been added as a flag, and this will show up on the job list as a flagged job. Now the scenario here may be we need to order the part, and I'm going to set up a service request for when we go out for our second visit. So I created the flag. I can come down here, create a purchase order to order my part, or maybe you have a different way that you've always ordered for years and years. You could use it that way. But the part is now ordered, and I know we're going to go out there. It's going to come in on Friday, but it'll be kind of late, so we're going to go on Monday. You can just come in and create a service request. So I'm just clicking new. And maybe for tag, we want to put part ordered and then put our details here if we want in the notes. And now we will make our service request. And that is really just prepping for when the part comes in. Maybe you're on the schedule page and you want to schedule. you can just drag and drop from the work queue over to the schedule, or you can just schedule it right from the job page. You would click edit, and I'm ready to schedule this. And we said we're going to, go out on Monday, maybe 12 to 1. Dustin will go back out and finish the job and hit save. And now it's scheduled. This is our callback. Making it in the job here is nice because you know that it's organized in the correct job folder. Dustin will install the part, complete, and then mark the flag as complete and hit save. Now the flag will be removed from the job. But you may be saying, we got a lot of flags. So if I have to go individually into each job to update my flags, it's going to be a lot of work. You can actually view and edit and update all of your flags in bulk from the jobs job list. Now, the job list, this will show you all your jobs in your system, but as it relates to flags, you're going to click Show Flag Jobs Only. And each flag, you can click on the flag and update it here. And you can just update all your flags in bulk from one place. And then the last thing we'll take a look at is reporting. So if you go to reporting, we're going to look at the job summary report. So just click under the job section, job summary. And the job summary report, this is best for like monitoring overall job status and progress. You can see the customer information. You have a quick access link to go into the job if you want to dive deeper. See the job status, if they have any flags. And I really like this. So I can see, was an appointment scheduled and was it completed? So checks and balances for you and your field team. If you're scheduling, but you see, this was a couple days ago and it hasn't been completed yet, what happened there? And then you can go into the job to check. Maybe someone just forgot to mark it as complete. But if they, in the hustle and bustle missed an appointment, that's really bad. We need to get on top of that, and you can cross-reference that here. Same thing with proposals. If they create a proposal and send it to the customer signs it, but nobody does a follow-up, we don't convert to an invoice, that could be a potential issue. So if it's a signed proposal, you want to make sure that we convert to an invoice and take payment. If that doesn't happen, this is an easy place to see that. So nothing falls between the cracks. All right. That is all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope this was helpful for you. And we're going to go to our Q&A now, get your questions ready. But thanks so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Job Management and Best Practices.